is the BYD Seal 5. Is it worth the money? Let's find out. The BYD Seal 5 plays it safe when it comes to design. It's not flashy or futuristic. I wouldn't call it boring, but it's definitely on the conservative side. Now what we have here is the base variant, and on the outside it looks almost the same as the top of the line model. It gets the same LED headlamps, the same grille. By the way, BYD says that the design is inspired by the ripples that you see on the water when you throw a pebble on it. Now one thing that's different here is that the wheels are smaller on the base model. These are only 16 inches. The top of the line has 17-inch wheels. The base model does not come with power folding side mirrors. These are manual folding. And you don't get a 360 camera here, so you don't have a camera underneath the mirrors. Now, like most recent BYD models, this supports NFC cards. So you don't always have to bring the key with you. You can use the card to lock, unlock, and start the vehicle. And the advantage of that is that you don't have to bring this bulky key fob. You can just bring your card, which fits into your wallet. This also has a smart locking system. To lock or unlock the vehicle, just press this button over here. The sides of the car look pretty clean. You don't have a lot of sharp lines here. You have the soft character line over here, which swells as it reaches the fenders. Now, one thing that's unique on the Seal 5 is that the window frame is rounded in shape over here. Now, on a lot of cars, that is a right angle. By the way, the doors sound pretty good. I think this rear quarter view is the best angle of the car. This thin LED light bar and this upswept window line over here give it a slightly European look. Now this base model only comes with 16-inch wheels, but I think even the top of the line could use bigger wheels and a bit less fender gap, but those could be easily fixed with aftermarket modifications. Now the car is often compared to subcompacts like the Vios because they're similar in price, but in terms of size, this is actually a lot bigger. The Seal 5 is 360 millimeters longer than the Toyota Vios. Now that's not a small number. In fact, it's actually longer than the Toyota Altis. It's a full segment up in terms of size, and that gives it a presence that you don't usually find in other cars in this price bracket. Now overall, it looks more than decent, especially compared to other sedans in this price bracket. But the real story will not be found on the exterior. Now, the BYD Seal 5 is powered by BYD's DMI technology, the same technology that powers the Sea Lion 6. So for those who don't know, it basically means that this is a plug-in hybrid. Now, like most hybrids, this uses both fuel and battery power for energy. But the difference is that, unlike most hybrids, you can charge this from an external source. The Seal 5 comes with a Type 2 AC charging port, so you can plug it into a wall outlet or a charging station to charge the battery. Now, the advantage is that you're not entirely dependent on the engine for charging, so you can use this as an EV for as long as you can keep the battery topped up. Now, both the top of the line and the base model come with the same ICE engine. The difference is that the base model comes with a smaller battery. It comes with an 8.3 kilowatt-hour battery, which is only good for 50 kilometers of EV range. The top of the line model comes with a bigger 18.3 kilowatt-hour battery, which is good for 110 kilometers. The power output of the base model is also slightly lower. This has 177 horsepower, whereas the top of the line has 197. Now, 177 is still a lot. If you're coming from a Vios and you drive this car, the power difference will surprise you. The Seal 5 has a manually opening trunk. Cargo space is pretty decent at 450 liters, and if you need more space, you can fold the rear seats down. There is no spare tire. It only comes with a tire inflator and repair kit. It also comes with a mobile charger, but unlike the top spec premium variant, it doesn't come with V2L capability. V2L basically allows you to power external appliances using the car's battery. There is definitely more than enough space in the trunk for our sponsor for today. Introducing the Atto Sport Mobility Scooter. The world's most innovative mobility scooter. It folds into a small suitcase size, and it has wheels so you can move it around like a trolley. It separates into two parts. It has leather seats and grips, an illuminated LCD dashboard, enhanced lighting for extra visibility. You can install optional armrests. It's perfect for seniors as it's easy to lift and unfolds in seconds. It has a maximum speed of 10 kph, shock absorbing flat free tires, high ground clearance, advanced braking system. Be free to travel anywhere, land, sea or air. It has 20 kilometers of continuous driving range. Engineered with flair, designed with passion for performance. Be active, be free, be yourself. Atto Sport, moving life. Okay, so on the inside, the dynamic looks almost the same as the premium. There are some differences, of course. One, you don't get a panoramic sunroof here, you don't get a wireless phone charger, you don't get the 360 camera. But in terms of design and in terms of materials, they're almost the same. Now for its price and compared to its Japanese competitors, this interior looks very good. It looks well sculpted. It looks like actual thought went into the design. In terms of materials, the top of the dashboard is soft touch. This is soft touch right here. This is leather wrapped. This is leather wrapped. You get leather wrapped armrests, leather wrapped seats, which are two-tone. The center part is cream. The sides are gray. You have a leather wrapped armrest. Both front seats are manually adjustable. You have a leather wrapped steering wheel. You have this texture on the center console, which looks like full carbon fiber. You also have it on the dashboard over here. A lot of the hard plastics are down here where you don't really get to touch them. Yeah, it looks very good considering that this is a car worth less than 1 million pesos. When it comes to tech, even though this is the base variant, it still leaves its Japanese competitors behind. Like, you got this huge 10-inch screen, the resolution is very good, and like most BYD models, this can rotate. You can rotate it by pressing this button on the screen or also by pressing this button on the steering wheel. And it goes from horizontal to vertical orientation. The display on the screen also changes accordingly. Now this has Apple CarPlay, this has Android Auto, this also has a reverse camera. The top of the line premium comes with a 360 camera. And you have this small instrument cluster. It makes sense that it's small because you have to view it through the steering wheel. Yeah, most of the controls are here on the center console. You have your start-stop button here, you have your EV, HEV buttons, your traction control off button, your electronic brake with auto hold. Almost all the aircon controls are on the screen, but you have 3 buttons here. One is for turning the air conditioning on and off. One is for turning automatic mode on, and the other is for ventilation. If you want to change the temperature or the fan speed, you have to go through the screen. Yeah, you don't have a wireless phone charger, but you have a place here to put your phone. It also has a rubber coating on it so your phone doesn't slide around. In terms of storage, the glove box is decently sized. You also have a bit of storage underneath the center armrest. You also have a bit of storage underneath the center console over here. Now here at the back seat, you get a lot more space than subcompacts like the Vios and maybe even the Altis. I have a lot of knee room here. That's isang tangkal, about 6 inches. I have a lot of room for my feet. There's a bit of a center tunnel there, but it's not very high. Headroom is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. I'm 5'8". I have a lot of shoulder room here. The backs of the seats are nicely reclined. In terms of toys, you get 2 air vents over there, 2 USB-A ports, a bit of storage over here. You don't get the center armrest though, and you don't get any cup holders. Now we have a growing number of charging stations in Metro Manila. Most major malls have EV charging stations. Currently, SM still offers free charging on most of their malls. Ayala now charges a fee, like this one at Vertis North. They charge 28.5 pesos per kilowatt hour for AC charging and 33 pesos per kilowatt hour for DC. Now to charge at an Ayala charging station, you'll need this app called Evro. Now when using this app, you can check the available charging stations. Like here at Vertis North, it says that 2 of 2 charging stations are available, and we're going to charge here now. Like this. Okay. Scan the code. Okay, so I seem to be having a problem. Smart signal here at Vertis North is pretty bad, and I can't get the app to work. So yeah, I can't charge right now. Okay, so I seem to be having a problem with the app right now. Either it's really slow or my data's bad. I'm guessing it's my data because yeah. So the signal here in Trinoma is pretty bad generally, so that's gonna be a problem if you're using Smart. Oh, finally, it's loading. Wow, it's taking a while, huh? I finally got it to charge. There were a couple of hiccups. At first, I had problems with my signal. I couldn't connect with the app. I couldn't access Gcash, and then it said that the station was unavailable. Now, after about 30 minutes, I finally got it to work. So we're charging at a rate of 2.3 kilowatts. So we'll get a full charge in 2 hours and 54 minutes. So when you're charging, you can set the amount that you want to spend. Like you can input 100 pesos or 200 pesos. They charge 28.5 pesos per kilowatt hour. You can charge while the aircon is running, so you can just relax inside the car while you're charging.
I did encounter some hiccups while charging on this day, but it was an isolated incident. The other times went without hiccups. But the good thing about having an IC engine as backup is that even if you encounter problems like this and you can't charge, you're still okay. Having battery charge helps, but it's not mandatory. Having an app like Evro has its advantages, like you can actually check if the charging station is available before going there, but you also introduce another point of failure in the system. SM charging stations don't require an app, and currently they're still free. The downside is that because they are free, they're more likely to be occupied, and you have no way of checking beforehand if they are unoccupied. Getting the fuel consumption of a plug-in hybrid can be tricky. You have 2 independent energy sources, and your consumption can vary depending on how often you charge the battery. It can be as low as 0 if you keep the battery topped up regularly. Now for this video, we're going to test the energy consumption of the car in 2 different ways. First, we're going to drive the car in EV mode and test its energy consumption in the city and on the highway. And then, we're going to take it on a very long road trip without refueling or recharging to test its real-world consumption if you don't charge the car in a single trip.
Okay, so we're going to test the energy consumption of the car on the highway. Going to reset our energy consumption meter. We'll do that after we're past the toll. And we'll switch to EV mode. Okay, we get it up to 60 kph, and then we reset.
Your eyes all night under the covers. Your place, my place, it doesn't matter. No one has to know. We'll keep it on the low. Round and round we go. Falling for you.
Okay, so far on the highway we're averaging about 9.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in EV mode. Now it's not as energy efficient as most pure EVs because it has the additional weight of the engine and the drivetrain. But 9.6 is not bad. It's not too far off from the energy consumption of the Ioniq 5.
The Seal 5 consumes 9.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers on the highway and 11.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in the city. Well, based on Ayala's charging rate of 28.5 pesos per kilowatt hour, that is 273 pesos per 100 kilometers on the highway and 316 in the city. If you charge at home though, it can be significantly cheaper. Meralco only charges 14 pesos per kilowatt hour, so that's only 134 pesos per 100 kilometers on the highway and 155 pesos in the city. Now, if we compare that to the Vios, which gets 18 kpl on the highway and about 10 kpl in the city, that translates to 322 pesos on the highway and 580 pesos in the city at 58 pesos per liter. So if you can charge the car at home, in EV mode it can be significantly cheaper to run than even really fuel-efficient subcompact sedans. BYD invited us, along with some of the country's top motoring media, to take the Seal 5 on a road trip across northern Luzon. From Manila Bay to Zambales, Zambales to Subic, from Subic to Bataan, and then from Bataan back home again. No refueling, no recharging, just one tank, one charge, and nearly 1,000 kilometers of varied terrain, traffic, and weather ahead of us. Would it make it? One way to find out. Now, there are three ways to recharge the battery. One is by plugging it in, two is by using the engine, and three is through kinetic energy. The last one kicks in when you're slowing down, coasting, or going downhill. Basically, anytime your foot is off the accelerator and you're moving, you're putting energy back into the battery. So if you're smart about how you drive, you can actually extend your range quite a bit. We drove from Makati to Zambales to Bataan, and we took the long route. We traveled about 598, almost 600 kilometers. We still have about 313 kilometers of fuel left, and we have a pretty well charged battery. We still have 20 kilometers of range left. Now, we drove the car very aggressively, but within legal limits during the last part of the trip, and it went down from 500 to 300 kilometers within the last 12 kilometers or so. Now, I believe there was a fuel economy challenge at some point in this trip, but as soon as we realized that we're not going to win that, we just decided to have fun with the car. I wouldn't call the Seal 5 sporty per se. The suspension is on the soft side. The steering is very light and doesn't offer a lot of feedback. But I think the power makes up for those shortcomings. With 177 horsepower and 316 Nm of torque, it already has a lot more power than its Japanese competitors. But it actually feels like it has more thanks to the instant pull from the electric motor. Compared to mainstream sedans like the Vios, the difference is night and day. The Seal 5 is simply a lot more fun to drive. The power comes in early. It's almost too easy to get the tires to squeal. It's not quite as refined as the Sea Lion 6, if I remember correctly. You can tell when the engine turns on. You can hear it, and you can also feel a bit of vibration. It's definitely a lot less vibration than what you get on mainstream hybrids like the Corolla Cross and especially the Yaris Cross. Okay, so we're now back in Manila. When the range goes below 50 kilometers, it stops displaying the range. So yeah, we got home with about 1 kilometer of battery power, of battery range left, and I don't know, under 50 kilometers of fuel range. Yeah, so we traveled 817.2 kilometers. We drove the car aggressively in the twisties, going uphill. We traveled 817 kilometers and used up almost all the fuel and battery power of the car. So if you do the math, the car has a 48-liter fuel tank, We traveled 817 kilometers. That would translate to 17.02 kpl. Now, keep in mind that we had the worst consumption among all the cars in the convoy. Some got back with over 200 kilometers of range remaining. So if you do the math, those guys did over 21 kpl, which is not bad considering the aggressive driving that we all did. Now, you could say that you could get the same consumption in a Wigo. Now, I doubt it, but even if you could, the drive's not going to be as fun as it was with a Seal 5. I'll end this video by answering two questions. One, should you get the dynamic or the premium? And two, if you had a budget of under 1 million pesos, should you get the Seal 5 or something else? Now, the price difference between the dynamic and the premium is over 200,000 pesos. But the differences are quite significant. You get ADAS features in the premium, you also get stuff like a 360 camera, you get significantly more power, and you get twice the electric range. So your additional 200,000 pesos will get you a lot of additional value. But also, the dynamic is a good enough car as it is. So that even if your budget only allows for 900,000 plus, you will still get, I would say, one of the best daily sedans for the money. Now, there is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all car. Everyone has different needs and preferences. If you want something familiar and market-proven, you'll probably lean towards something like a Toyota Vios. But if you're looking for something a bit more special, the Seal 5 might be worth a closer look. The Seal 5 Dynamic stands out as the only plug-in hybrid sedan priced under 1 million pesos. In fact, it is the only plug-in hybrid of any kind below that price point. It offers excellent fuel economy, number coding exemption, and a taste of the EV experience, without the range anxiety. But the real selling point isn't just that it's a plug-in hybrid. The bigger story is that even if it weren't, the Seal 5 would still hold its own. In terms of interior quality, space, and features, it is better than almost anything that you can get for under $1 million.